So, right now, many terminally online capital G gamers are losing their minds. Nintendo has just unveiled the Switch 2. And to be fair, everyone liked that. Then, everyone found out about the pricing. And no one liked that. On the bright side, this situation has kind of pushed me to make a video that I've wanted to make for a while now. I'm thinking maybe in the process I can help out some of my fellow gamers and just, be a more positive voice on this platform instead of another screaming neckbeard. So today we're going to be talking about money.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Hello. I like money.
I like talking about money. I like making money. And I like making plans around how much money I currently have and will have. I have a detailed budget spreadsheet where I track all my personal finances, and the simple act of updating this thing and going through it and cutting out things I don't need really sparks joy. This love of personal finance naturally affects my hobby of choice, playing video games. Video game prices have been on the rise, with some even speculating the base version of a game could cost upwards to $100 here soon, all thanks to the highly anticipated Grand Theft Auto 6. Nintendo has already taken the first step, blindsiding quite a few people in the process, with some Switch 2 games going for as high as $80. Luckily for you, I have developed a couple strategies over my 30 years of gaming that allow me to play more games while spending way less money than many others in the process. And since I like you so much, I just want to share some of them with you. This video is going to be divided into 3 sections: easy, normal, and hard. So no matter what gaming ecosystem you're most invested in, I've got you covered. Yes, even you folks on PC. All are welcome here in the kingdom of Xavier. If you don't care to learn about ecosystems you are not invested in, go ahead and check these timestamps to jump to strategies centered on your preferred mega corporation. A few ground rules and disclaimers before we start so I don't get sued. Number 1, this video is not financial advice. Number 2, this video will only point out legal means of playing as many games as possible. Yes, I know that without limits or restraint, there are ways to get and play even more games than what I talk about here. But hell, man, limits can be good. You ever hear of choice paralysis? I mean, it's not really a bad thing to perhaps be more intentional in the things you consume. Also, remember Rapture? Ever been to Rapture? Yeah, they didn't have any limits either. Didn't work out for them. Number 3, this video is not for the video game collector. Yes, if you're the type who does not want to snag that copy of a game for 30% cheaper, simply because it does not come complete in a nice little box for you to slide on your shelf and stare at from time to time, I can't help you. Video game collecting has changed quite a bit in the last 10 years, so honestly, you guys would need a whole other video. Between these price hikes on new games and the absurd retro market, I do feel for you guys. You're definitely going through it right now. And number 4, since we're diving deep into a topic that is pretty much just a personal finance discussion at the end of the day, remember that only you know your situation best. I'm just a joker on YouTube. Again, not financial advice, okay? Enough of this mumbo jumbo to protect myself legally. Let's jump right into easy mode. Gaming on PC or Xbox as your primary platform. If you have the unfortunate circumstance of being deep in the Xbox ecosystem while also being someone who enjoys physical games, I'm so sorry. We're going all digital, baby. Well, mostly digital. I will have a few tips for people who don't mind buying physical sprinkled in here and there, but hey, try to keep an open mind as we go forward. Digital games are great. They can't hurt you. And that freaking disc doesn't even have the entire game on it anyway, so what the hell? What are we complaining about? God. Also, remember, We're in the business of playing, like actually playing, not collecting as many games as we can get our grubby little gamer hands on. And there's no better way to do that right now than with Xbox Game Pass. With Xbox Game Pass, you get over 100 games instantly, and you can play them in a variety of different places, not just on your Xbox. For the purposes of this video, we don't hate cloud gaming. I know, wild. I use cloud gaming all the time, and I think it's great. Whether that be on my PlayStation Portal or using my Series S connected to my iPad. It's been a really nice experience for me all around. I honestly have zero complaints. I even 100% completed Kingdom Hearts 1 on the Switch Cloud version. It ran perfectly. Shout out to the Xbox app, which makes it nice and easy to manage installing and uninstalling different games when you're out and about. You ever be at work and think to yourself, man, I'm getting the urge to play some Halo. I mean, of course you don't. Halo is bad now. But let's say that you did. You boot up the app, you hit install, and it'll be there when you get home. The Xbox ecosystem's real strength is in its flexibility. You can play fast and loose with it. It's the lowest commitment to the hobby a brand new gamer could possibly make. If you're older like me and gamed on Xbox back in the 360 days, you also probably have a ton of games that you can play enhanced on modern hardware. Not only that, Xbox is brave enough, or foolish enough, to give you access to all of their first-party games day one on Game Pass Ultimate, the highest tier of subscription. Microsoft is pretty much going out of their way to make sure you, the super smart financially savvy gamer, do not buy a damn thing on their platform. No wonder they're in last place. But hey, that's why they're gaming's easy mode, am I right? If you're really savvy. Seriously, this next tip is not for the financially irresponsible. Xbox even has a credit card that they offer, at least here in America. You can get free months of Game Pass from it, along with gift cards for the Xbox store. I'm a huge fan of credit cards in general. I've got like 1 billion of them, but I also understand they aren't for everyone. For me though, the Xbox credit card is another benefit of the ecosystem. The 3 months of Game Pass that I've got right now as of making this video, yeah, that came from this card. PC is lumped into this category as well because not only do PC players have the incredible Steam sales to look forward to, along with other various storefronts just for them, they also can take advantage of the benefits of Xbox Game Pass on their own special tier. So they really get the best of both worlds. If you're thinking, but hey, what about the cost to build a PC, man? Well, you see, that's the cool thing. You don't actually have to if you don't want to. Nvidia has a service called GeForce Now, another cloud gaming platform that lets you just stream games from more powerful hardware to your PC. On the low end, and to be fair, it is quite limited, but you can even get into the service for free. If you really are that adverse to cloud gaming as a whole, you can also get into PC gaming with like the same laptop you use for school projects or work. It really doesn't take much to get games up and running on PC, and you're only dealing with the crazy costs of building a PC if you're someone who just cares a lot more about top-of-the-line graphics or frame rates over 60. If you just want a stable release of a game on PC, it's not as hard or expensive as you might think to get started. That's without even getting into handheld PCs like the Steam Deck and ROG Ally that have been gaining popularity in the last few years. PC is also the best choice if you're into any multiplayer games. These days they usually have some kind of cross-play with other platforms, and you won't have to worry about any costs associated with just accessing the multiplayer in the first place. I game on console and don't play much multiplayer, only local stuff really. So if I do want to play something online like Street Fighter 6 as an example, I just pick up a single month of Game Pass Standard and get my fix that way. But if I was a true Street Fighter sicko, you can bet I would be playing on PC as my primary platform. PC just has a multitude of ways to get and play tons of games for cheap. Talk to any PC player down in the comments and I assure you their backlog dwarfs the likes of console babies like me. Even Mac users have Apple Arcade, which actually has some pretty good exclusives like Sonic Dream Team. Capcom has been doing their part to push Mac gaming forward with their ports of games like the Resident Evil 4 remake and Resident Evil Village. So things are probably just going to get even better for Mac gamers as time goes on. Not only that, if you do have a Mac, you can run a program like Parallels that lets you dual boot into Windows, so you get all the benefits of gaming on a Windows PC without having to buy a shitty Windows PC.
And I mean, folks, where's the lie?
Now it's time for the best part. Let's talk numbers, baby. These prices are going to be compared to the MSRP of buying games individually with no discount, considering that's what everyone's flipping their shit over right now. This will also only cover prices in the US, because that's where I live. Unfortunately. Let's first check the cost of entry for Xbox. If you don't game with Xbox and you want to, what's that actually look like to start? Well, in all honesty, it's easy. No consoles needed, most any device will do, so your cost of entry is really just that Game Pass subscription price. If you do want an Xbox console, second-hand base Xbox Ones are pretty cheap, and most games still run on that thing just fine. At the time of writing, Xbox Game Pass is $11.99 a month on PC, and on console, you have a choice between $9.99 a month for core, $14.99 a month for standard, and $19.99 a month for ultimate, which also includes access to EA Play, and that's normally $5 on its own. Not too shabby, right? We can even lower the cost here by picking up a Game Pass code from somewhere else, like Amazon. Props to Xbox for offering quite a few tier options here along with monthly pricing. Regarding that, a lot of people screw themselves when it comes to monthly charges of Game Pass and other subscription services by keeping that subscription service active for the entire year, whether they're using it or not. If you do that with the console tiers, it'd shake out to $179 a year for standard and a whopping $239 for ultimate. In my opinion, all that ain't even close to being necessary. I mean, think about it. Really think about how most people actually play video games. They take a fair amount of time to get through for the average person, especially compared to watching a movie on Netflix or whatever. See, this line of thinking, it's a trap that Microsoft has set for you. If you don't go into your subscription with some sort of plan, you're going to end up wasting months of Game Pass with nothing to show for it. Now, what you want to do instead is adopt a more intentional approach. Don't actually subscribe to Game Pass unless you know for sure there are multiple games that you will play or finish in the span of a month or two. See, that's how you kill your masters. Using myself as an example, I've got a Game Pass Ultimate sub right now that started back in February and will be ending in May. I'm not paying for it, but for this example, let's just say that I was paying for it. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is the reason I subscribed to begin with. I absolutely had to play that as soon as possible. But hey, I'm a financially savvy gamer, right? So of course I'm not gonna buy it outright for $50 when it's a day one shadow drop on Game Pass. I also knew I would eventually get to Avowed, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and the then upcoming South of Midnight as well. So there were at least 4 games right off the bat that I knew I wanted to play. But there was even more than that, because I hadn't used Game Pass in quite some time. There was also Persona 3 Reload, Hellblade 2, Mullet Mad Jack, Neon White, Moving Out 2, Blue Prince, Starfield, Expedition 33, Trials of Mana, 9 Souls, and I mean the list goes on. There was no way in hell I was going to buy each and every one of these games, especially at launch. There is no reason to. This being a subscription service frees me up to try out games that I maybe wouldn't have and find new favorites in the process. Sure, some of them were duds. I mean, I'm still not happy with Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, and Avowed fucking sucks. But super fun games like Mullet Magic or Blueprints, those pick up the slack. And they're not long games either. Don't sleep on the included EA Play subscription either. Last year, I subbed to just EA Play for 1 month, $5 total, all so I could play the Dead Space remake that was just added to the service. It didn't take too long, so I was also able to get through Need for Speed Unbound as well, a game that ended up really surprising me. If EA releases something that catches your eye, keep an eye on that service because there's a good chance it'll make its way there. For the cost of 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate, about $60, I was able to play over $645 worth of video games. Let me say that again. For $60 on Game Pass, I was able to play over $645 MSRP worth of video games.
Oh my god! Wow!
But I'm only able to see results like this because I actually sat my ass down and played games while I had the subscription. And I mean, my situation is nothing special. I'm a dad gamer with my second kid on the way. I work 40 hours a week, and I've got a freaking 3-hour commute in awful Los Angeles traffic that I do every freaking day. I game for a bit in the morning and at night. Nothing too crazy, I would say. When you actually play video games, you'd be surprised how many you can get through. You don't need to watch a 3-hour video about how to clear your backlog, just play your freaking games. It pays to be a bit more intentional with how you spend your time. And it helps to accept that a lot of the games you play might not really be worth a purchase. Maybe they offer no replay value and they're just one and done experiences. Maybe the game wasn't fun to start with and you push through just to finish it. You know, like a multitude of reasons. Since I do think Xbox really is providing the best value in gaming right now, the system I've sort of adopted is simply wishlisting Game Pass games that I've played that I would be interested in picking up later on a deep sale. This is the bone I throw to Xbox for providing such a great service. I mean, if I played it on Game Pass, I do eventually pick it up on their storefront, most of the time, but only if the price is right. And it usually takes years to get to a price I feel comfortable with. I'm totally fine with waiting, as I've already completed the game, so what's the rush? The patient gamer gets the deal in the end. Good old Sony. If this is your ecosystem of choice, then you're definitely used to performing wallet no jutsu. It's a foregone conclusion. But is it really as bad over here as people say? I don't think so. Right now, the PlayStation 5 is actually my main console. If I'm buying a game, 9 times out of 10, it's probably from the PlayStation Store. I've even invested in extra hardware within this ecosystem, like the PlayStation Portal and the DualSense Edge wireless earbud. The experience that I want from my PlayStation is a more luxurious one, with games looking and running as good as they possibly can. That being said, I'm not out here buying tons of new full-price games. The last full-price games I bought were Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Stellar Blade. Both must-buys in my opinion. But there aren't a lot of games that release that can get me to gladly pay full price. Resident Evil, hell, any Resident Evil comes to mind as an exception, but even something like Sonic X Shadows Generations I still haven't picked up, despite being a huge Sonic fan. There's just no reason to at this time. A lot of the time while I'm waiting like this, the games I'm waiting for just get on even deeper sales. Or they just end up hitting Xbox Game Pass anyway. It's much more common for me to take advantage of the regularly occurring PlayStation Store sales. there's almost always a sale going on, and I use the shop filters to specifically look through games that are $20 and under. That's my sweet spot. Sometimes I'm just filtering through games that are $10 and under. I mean, I'm cheap as hell. Now, if you buy every $20 game that catches your eye, that's going to add up quick, right? So, that's not what I recommend. There is one very important but very simple question that I ask myself before I add any game to my cart. Seriously, this has saved me so much money on games in the last few years. Am I going to play this game right now? If the answer is yes and the price is right, I'll go for it. That game isn't getting added to a backlog or gonna sit around collecting dust, so it's fine. But if the answer is no, and trust me, most of the time the answer is no, because I'm already in the middle of playing a bunch of other stuff, I let the game sit on the wish list and revisit it the next time it's on sale. Like Xbox, the wishlist feature on PlayStation is really great, and it notifies you via the app or email when the games you're watching go on sale. So that alone will save you a ton in this ecosystem, but Sony also has their own Game Pass competitor with PlayStation Plus. It's not brought up much, but PlayStation Plus I think deserves a little bit more credit. Its lineup of games is actually pretty comparable to Game Pass. Game Pass only edges out, in my opinion, because it regularly has more new games on day one. Unlike Game Pass though, no matter what tier of PlayStation Plus you get, you'll also get a batch of free games every month. Sometimes these free games really reward a patient gamer, like, man, I remember when Final Fantasy VII Remake hit this service, and just recently, Dragon Age the Veilguard did as well. Other times though, it's just stuff that'll have you wondering why Sony even bothered. But hey, free is free. Alright, let's look at Sony's numbers. The cost to get in here is much more than with Xbox or even PC. I feel like you get a nice balance between the power of the hardware and its costs, but your mileage may vary on that. Just like Xbox though, you don't have to get the latest tech to get in with Sony. PlayStation 5 is nice, but all these years into its life, it still hasn't really justified itself for a lot of people. A secondhand PS4 would leave you with tons to play and all the same benefits of PlayStation Plus as well. The PS4 is amazing. There's a reason it's stuck around this long, so don't sleep on it as an option. Even if you're watching this video far off into the future, it's a great system and will be a fantastic retro console. I'm sure of that. If you do happen to already have the PS5, I think it's going to have a similar cross-gen period as the PS4, maybe even longer. I really wouldn't be surprised if PS5 games were still releasing like 10 years from now. Unless there's some kind of dramatic shakeup in the tech associated with this stuff, buying a PS5 today will probably have you covered for quite some time. And I think the Switch 2 releasing at the level of power that it's at is only going to ensure this even more. If you don't mind streaming games, and remember, for the purposes of this video, we don't, the PlayStation Portal also comes highly recommended from me. While it's currently in beta, a premium subscription will allow you to stream games directly to this device as well. No PS5 necessary. Sony also offers annual price discounts on their subscription service, which Xbox unfortunately does not. PlayStation Plus Essential is $80 a year, which shakes out to a true cost of $667 a month. If you don't want to keep it all year, you can also just keep an eye on the free games being offered each month, and if something catches your eye, just subscribe for that single month so that that game gets added to your library. I've had PlayStation Plus on and off for many years, so I kind of have a backlog specific to that service on its own. When I get a hankering to play like 3 or 4 games that are on the service, I'll pay $10 for a single month and get through those games. It's pretty much the exact same way that I use Game Pass. PlayStation Plus Extra can be okay, since you can play some of the first-party Sony titles with it, but be careful. Last year, I used it to play the Uncharted 4 Collection, Horizon Forbidden West, and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. But the next time I use it, it'll mainly be to play God of War Ragnarok. But seriously, just treat it like Game Pass and only sub for a month when there are multiple things you actually want to play. As for PlayStation Plus Premium, just ignore it. It's way overpriced for what it's offering, in my opinion. Now, when it comes to actually buying games for PlayStation systems, though, I mean, there's really not much to complain about. Just stick to the sales. Actually, use that wishlist feature and come up with your own personal prices that you feel comfortable paying for each game. Stay away from special or deluxe editions. They're a waste of money most of the time, especially digitally. No, I do not need your digital art book or your frickin' soundtrack that's probably already on Apple Music. Also, try to remember that will I play it now question before you click buy. Trust me, that alone will save you so much money if you actually follow it. Since PlayStation is my main platform right now, I always tell friends and family to just get me PlayStation gift cards for my birthday or Christmas. You get a few people giving you $10 here, $20 there, $15 here, twice a year? Yeah, that adds up. Regardless of what platform you favor, this is a great tip to keep costs low, especially if you make these gift amounts last for as long as you possibly can. And lastly, once again, this is for the financially responsible only, Sony has a PlayStation credit card. The rewards on it are pretty great for PlayStation Store purchases, and you can redeem the points for more PlayStation gift cards. I've gotten hundreds of dollars on the PlayStation Store just from having and using this card. With all these tips combined, I haven't spent much actual cash on the PlayStation Store in quite some time. While it's not as easy to save as it is on the Xbox or PC, with a little patience, you can really thrive gaming in this ecosystem. Remember, FOMO is your worst enemy. You're not missing out. Whatever it is will be new to you when you eventually get to it. And yes, that includes the mythical titan that is Grand Theft Auto 6. And here we are, the hardest ecosystem to deal with, Nintendo. But Xavier, Nintendo has always been the cheaper, family-friendly alternative to Microsoft and Sony. Bitch, where? For close to a decade now, Nintendo has been doing everything they can to protect the value and the perceived value of their IP. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the top-selling Switch game by a large margin. And even though it was always just an enhanced port of the Wii U version and has been on the market forever, it's still full price. $60, please. Breath of the Wild? A Switch launch game, you say? $60. Skyward Sword? An enhanced port of a Wii game? $60. Animal Crossing New Horizons? $60. The latest Pokemon game? How about $60? And how about twice? F-Zero? How about non-existent? Also, if it did exist, it'd be $60. Now, I think people are just kinda remembering the good old days when it comes to Nintendo, you know? Like, remember the Player's Choice line? Back in the day, if a game sold a certain amount of copies, it would get discounted to about $20 and enter the Player's Choice collection. If Nintendo still had this program, they'd be making a killing for sure, but most of their releases would also probably qualify since the Switch has been such a success and everything on it sells millions and millions of copies. So, why discount to $20 when they know we will pay $60? I get it. Nintendo is out to make money, but we gamers, we're out to save money and not miss out on the finely crafted experiences that the company is known for. It can be done, but it's going to take much more work than with Sony or Microsoft. You don't even get a Nintendo credit card to help out. I mean, damn, Nintendo, get with the times. Alright, so first, what is our cost to get in with Nintendo? Well, with the release of the Switch, things are actually better for us now. Let's not forget that back in the day, Nintendo had home consoles and dedicated handhelds running side by side. So, if you were into Nintendo, and especially Pokemon, it was very common to have both systems and buy games for both systems. Player's choice did make this a bit easier to deal with, but still, just having the Switch on its own, I greatly prefer that. The Switch has multiple versions, so you can take your pick based on your budget and what you value. If you are just going to be playing handheld, I'd recommend the Switch Lite to save a few bucks, or the OLED if you really want a nice screen. But if you're mainly going to play on a TV with like a Pro controller or something, the base Switch is perfect for that. Nintendo also has a subscription service like everyone else, and honestly, I think it's pretty underrated. I actually like this setup more than the Virtual Console, the old way Nintendo would deal with their back catalog. Nintendo Switch Online is pretty much a given to just keep active all the time because it's only $20 a year. If you get the higher tier that offers access to Game Boy Advance, Nintendo 64, and Sega Genesis games as well, that's only $50 a year, and it will soon include GameCube games as well on the Switch too. Honestly, for the games you're getting access to, the systems you're getting access to, we're talking some of the best games of all time, and taking that freaking retro market into consideration as well, along with the fact that you can get a family plan going and split that cost with like 8 people? This is a great deal for retro fans. Plain and simple. A no-brainer. Buying new games on the Switch isn't really too different from buying them on other platforms. If a third-party game is on sale on PlayStation, that same game is also probably on sale on Switch. When it comes to third-party non-Nintendo games, stick to the same tips I mentioned in the Xbox and PlayStation section, and you'll be alright. But the real value in Nintendo platforms has always been their first-party exclusive games. So, how do we deal with the fact that these games, especially digitally on the eShop, almost never go on sale? I mean, a lot of it is going to be about what you value, right? Super Mario Odyssey at $60 might be an easier pill to swallow for you than something like Mario vs. Donkey Kong. And vice versa. I don't think Nintendo fans just blindly purchase every single first-party game that they put out. Keeping that in mind does help with the sticker shock, at least for me. But let's say you just wanted a few of the heavy hitters. That's over $300 right there if you buy them direct from Nintendo. So here's some ways to make this a little bit easier to deal with. This is where I'm actually going to recommend that you go physical. Going with physical when it comes to Nintendo's games has a unique benefit in the fact that their games hold on to that value for years. They're like the complete opposite of Ubisoft. Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to be like $20 or less or on some kind of subscription service in a year. I assure you. Don't pay $70 for that game. Not only that, but Nintendo games are discounted at least $10 pretty regularly on Amazon and other platforms. So if you don't mind flipping the game after completing it, this is a great way to play everything Nintendo has to offer and keep your costs low. You could literally buy one Nintendo game for close to full price or full price, and then just beat it quickly and flip it and move on to the next one. Next thing you know, you've gotten through all the Nintendo games that you actually wanted to play. And you only have to worry about picking up your absolute favorites later on a sale. And yeah, there are sales. Keep those annual sales in mind. I know we all kid around about these games never being on sale, but let's be honest here, they do go on sale. It's just very rare, admittedly. The discount you can expect always seems to be around 33%. Mario Day is on March 10th each year, and it's a great example. That's when you'll find most of Mario's games on sale for about $40 to $45. It pays to keep an eye on the calendar for things like that. Black Friday is also another time you can expect deals like this from Nintendo. It's not that the games are never on sale, it's that the discounts are just not that impressive compared to everywhere else. Next, let's talk about using eShop gift cards. I already mentioned in the Xbox and PlayStation sections of the video that they offer their own credit cards that you can use to build up rewards from shopping directly with them. Nintendo had a coin system that worked similarly. You get gold coins for each purchase and you can put those towards new purchases. But unfortunately, they killed the program earlier this year. Luckily, we can still pull some deals out of our ass using other platforms' point systems or other credit cards. As an example, here's what I do as a digital-only Nintendo fan. If I'm looking to shop with Nintendo, it actually starts over on Amazon. I have an Amazon store card that gives me 5% back on all purchases. If I spend $100 on Nintendo eShop cards, the true cost there is actually $95 instead. And that's only if I don't have any Amazon credit currently sitting around, which I usually do. I then go to redeem those eShop cards on the Nintendo Switch vouchers. These have been a godsend, in my opinion. If you've never used them before, basically Nintendo sells these game vouchers in packs of 2 for $100. You can then go and redeem said vouchers for most of their first-party lineup. If you bought the games without vouchers, that's $60 a pop, $120 altogether. Just buying the vouchers alone, you're already saving $20. It's even better when you can combine the purchase of vouchers with other credit rewards programs, lowering the initial costs of the eShop cards even more. That's how you really pile on the savings with Nintendo. Now, they've already announced that we will not be able to use game vouchers for Switch 2. So what the heck are we gonna do now? Physical Nintendo fans who don't mind reselling, you guys are gonna be fine, honestly. Us digital fans though, I'd urge you to be patient. That's just the best move right now. If you do buy a Switch 2 at launch, the Mario Kart bundle is the way to go, as you get that game for $30 off, and it's an evergreen title that you're probably going to play for years. But if you don't want Mario Kart, and none of the other launch games are calling your name, just wait and see what Nintendo does. In light of recent events, a lot of things may be changing. So I really think the play here is to just wait and see what new incentives Nintendo rolls out. I find it hard to believe they're removing the gold coins and vouchers on Switch 2 and not replacing them with something else. There's also no word on the existing voucher program being removed from the Switch 1. Hell, when Tears of the Kingdom came out, Nintendo added it to the voucher program on day one while also pricing it at $70, a new high for them at the time. This made buying the game with vouchers a no-brainer. They're pulling a similar move with the Mario Kart Switch 2 bundle, and seeing as how Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon Z-A are also going to be releasing as Switch 1 games, I think you can bet they will be added to the voucher program. Metroid Dread and almost every single Pokemon Switch game are already on that list, so I've got my fingers crossed. Nintendo gaming gets to be even more annoying if you want any of the cool extra hardware they have, like the wireless retro controllers from Switch Online, extra Joy-Cons, or even a Pro controller. Luckily, you can buy these things from resellers or catch them on sale at other stores. In my opinion, it really is just the digital first-party games that make this hard mode. But if you play it smart, you'll be bouncing through the Mushroom Kingdom and slicing through Hyrule without thinking twice about how much you spent to do it. And that, my friends, concludes this edition of the Frugal Gamer's Guide. Just remember, your FOMO will pass, and it pays to be patient more often than not. Especially when dealing with this fickle-ass gaming industry. I don't think gamers really should be simultaneously stressing over how to get through their growing backlog of games and getting pissed off at the rising cost of games. Like, dude, put 2 and 2 together. Most of you have more games than you're going to be able to realistically play in your lifetime. And this hobby is supposed to be fun, not stressful. None of us are entitled to these games. So if you need to wait on a purchase because of your circumstances, that's totally fine. You're not a lesser gamer because of it. Though collecting can be tough, this hobby is more accessible than it ever has been to people who just want to experience video games. I think that's great. It's something I wish more people kept in mind. I hope that with your newfound knowledge, you can go out there, vote with your wallets, and play more games than ever before. If you have any other tips to save cash on games, or if there's anything I might have forgotten to mention, let me know down in the comments. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I post a new video each month, so until next time, peace and happy gaming.